Hello, everyone. I want to give a very warm welcome to Mr. Jeremy Rochford. How are you today, Jeremy?
I'm great.
And the crowd goes wild.
Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am excellent. Excellent. We got a little bit of liquid life here today. Just
Nice.
got done with a walk and excited for another day of progress together.
Nice.
And I'm just very grateful to have met you at a conference last month. We actually were roommates for a couple days, and when you rolled in at 11 o'clock at night with an R2D2 suitcase, I'm like, I picked a cool roommate. This is gonna work.
It,
And
it no, it, it worked amazing, and
yeah.
and you've got an amazing Jeep that my wife fell in love with too. So
Very nice. Yeah, life is too short to drive a boring vehicle. That's what my father taught me. So it is fun. It is fun. It's very much like driving an elephant down the freeway, but it is fun.
you know
So
what though? That's awesome.
yeah. So I want to jump in and just share with the Adventurous Parents Group, what you've been through on your journey, what kind of resources that you have, kind of showcase who you help, because you have an incredible backstory. And, I really love your model of how you work with people. It's not just the flavor of the week, eat this, don't eat that. You need to be doing one exercise. It's, really a holistic approach. So I really connect with that. That's how I am with a lot of my clients as well. So give me a 30,000-foot view for everybody in the group, kind of who you are, where you're from, what you're all about, how many kiddos you have, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So my name is Jeremy Rochford. I am from Pittsburgh, PA, and what I do through my experience of losing 200 pounds and keeping it off for the past 15 years is I create custom personalized weight loss programming for individuals so that success is inevitable. And more importantly, I walk them through every step of the process so that when they've lost the weight, they're able to keep it off forever. And it really is the most different approach that is out there. And I love it. That's what I do. But beyond that, I'm a husband. I've got a lovely wife. Her name's Charity. We've been together for 15 years, monogamous for 19. So we dated for 2, engaged for 2, married for 15. And from that awesomeness, we have 2 kids. I got a 5-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. We've just come into the chaotic part of the year because his birthday is in October, her birthday's in November, and then Christmas. So it's just
This will
chaos.
be a bit of stress.
It's awesome though.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, my favorite icebreaker that I came up with a couple years ago is, what are you up to these days that you're wildly passionate about? So this could be, are you building a swing set in the backyard? Are you planning for an epic safari adventure with the family? What's something that you're wildly passionate about right now?
No, and it's cheesy, but professionally, I have started doing weight loss mentorships where genuinely I'll talk with someone and we'll create a weight loss program based around their lives, what they like, what they don't like, and we'll mix it with science because there's certain things that you have to do. And then we'll mix it with freedom because how you do a lot of the things to lose weight is up to a lot of people. And just digging in that a lot of people who get weight loss advice don't get it from people who've never lost weight. There's a big disconnect. And I've seen a lot of success with my clients and they're having a good time doing it.
Nice.
And so I am so passionate because not only did my process work for me, but now I've got a bunch of people who've lost 50, 60, 75 pounds in the past year. And the freedoms that they're having are amazing.
Yeah,
So
that's
seeing that
awesome.
success is just making me super passionate. And then to decompress from that, I like NASCAR.
Oh, very cool. Very
I love
cool.
it. I don't know how it happened being from Pittsburgh. Because like when you're born, they give you a social security card and a terrible towel. Like that's what Pittsburgh is. But somewhere along the way, NASCAR happened and I love it. So those are my 2 passions other than family, um,
Okay.
just the business side of things and helping people lose weight and love the process. And then little toy cars, which I get to say they're for my son.
Right. Yeah, I do the same thing in Walmart every time. There's always
Right?
another 94 cents on the receipt there. Yeah, that's
Like
awesome.
we
That's
got to check out
awesome.
the Boba Fett figures for my kids.
Right. Yes, definitely. Definitely. And we can go on another deep dive about the whole Disney Plus program
Oh,
next
they're
week,
counting
which
the
is going to be
days.
very cool. Very cool. But one of the main reasons I wanted to focus on, sharing you with the group is I really connected with your sense of humor and kind of how you bring fun into fitness. And I appreciate the CD that you gave me. I don't think I've received a CD in probably 5 or 7 years. So it was so cool to open that wrapper again, and throw a CD in my Jeep and listen to you talk about Boba Fett and everything while driving around. But I really appreciate how you bring in and give it a real approach. And so I wanted to have everybody hear your kind of quick 5-minute story, staying a little bit high about how you use fun and laughter in your journey and how you kind of share that with other people. So yeah, give me a 30,000-foot view.
Well, first of all, I love that it's been 5 to 7 years since you've acquired a CD. Because one of the jokes I have, especially about my hair, because it's like 2005 Warped Tour, is I like to say that I'm an emerging vintageist, which means I'm just
Okay.
never going to change, and the trends are going to go away and then catch back up with me. So
Yes.
you know how vinyl came back?
Mm-hmm.
The CD went away for 5 to 7 years, and I'm bringing it back. So
Nice.
like 10 years from now, when all the kids are wearing Blink 182 shirts, ironically, and they're giving you CDs like how their parents used to listen to, like we're doing,
Yes. With
just remember,
Jankos.
yeah, like remember this, yeah, when cargo pants come back and it's not Adam Sandler or a medic wearing them, like just remember this moment. So,
Nice.
but yeah, like so yeah, and a majority of my story is based around losing the 200 pounds, but it starts from when I was 5. I was put on my first diet when I was 5 and really struggled for years. And then in 6th grade is when it became emotional, because that's the first time where hormones got involved, and you go to the middle school dance and society does a really good job telling you that you're a second-class citizen because of your weight. And that's where, for me, food became less fun and more of an escape. And those patterns carried on until the summer between my 11th and 12th grade year, where I got kicked out of an amusement park for being too fat to ride. And it was just kind of one of those come to Jesus moments where we acknowledged that something had to change. And my father was very adamant about not getting the surgery, because he so bluntly put it, Jeremy, it's not a lack of surgery in your life that's causing you to be overweight. If you never actually solved the problem, even if you had some type of surgery, it's only a matter of time till you push out the sleeve or the 15% of your stomach that's left. Like, you actually have to address the problem. And so what we ended up doing was we enlisted an overweight nutritionist, which is ironic, but is what happened. And they gave me a program that was really great until I got to school, because when you get to school, at least in my day, you couldn't request 4 ounces of steamed chicken with quinoa. And so I had to create my own program of, well, here's the list of ideal nutrition. What's going to start out cold, but not end up dilapidated in 4 hours in a school locker? And so it started giving me this mentality of, let's not live in what I can't do. Let's fully excel and execute what I can do. So things like apples and grapes and carrots, like these are all things that could start out cold, be delicious cold, but also be delicious warm. Bananas, like I don't know why bananas don't win a Nobel Peace Prize. Like they come with their own carrying case. Like if you're a musician, like it has its own case, and you can buy like 47 for a nickel. Like people, like that's the thing. People who say that eating well is expensive, I don't know. Like you can get expensive. Like you can, I call it hipster healthy. Like, yeah, if you want to pay $85 for a salad from an overhauled U-Haul, like, yeah, like food trucks are cool. Or you could just spend $1 and get a really great meal. And that's some of the things we talk about. But it caused me to go on this journey to figure out, like, well, what can I actually do? And then at the same time, I joined a gym, because that's what you do when you're overweight. And for lack of a better term, it didn't go well, because when you're overweight, like there's a lot of you that moves. And quite often, if you've ever exercised and someone else is telling you what to do, like you don't realize how out of shape you are until someone else makes you not stop. And so I was on the treadmill just trying not to die, and my man boobs ended up popping out of my shirt. And it was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And what I ended up doing was, I made a joke of the scenario. I basically look around and was like, yo, first show's for free, but the next show is going to cost you. And what was fascinating about this moment is, exit that, fast forward, let's see, it would have been about 18 years where I got invited to do a TED Talk on it. Part of the process of refining the talk is, like, where does the science meet the story? And so the concept was about emotional weight loss and the neurological triggers. But then when we got down to it, like what actually was different about that treadmill scenario. And for me, what I noticed was I used humor to control the situation rather than to deflect it. Because my entire life up until that moment, I had used humor as a way to control the narrative so that when people made fun of me, I could avoid it. Because though it's unpopular, to some extent it's true. When bullies say something about you, sometimes it's right. And in my life, I was overweight. I just wasn't ready to deal with it on their terms. And so by consistently making fun of myself, it just kept pushing the reality of having to deal with it out further and further. But at the treadmill, I didn't deflect. I accepted all of the criticism and all of the awkwardness and all the stares and the gawks. And I was like, you know, I've been made fun of my entire life for making bad decisions. And now I'm finally making a good decision and you guys are still making fun of me. No, that is unacceptable. And I realized that in that moment, if I can use humor to reduce the stress, it proved to me that there was a different way of handling things. And if that was possible, then what else was possible? And that set me on this journey of now that we know these things, how do we apply them? And how can we make fun of the situation, but not the people? Because, and you're a parent, we're all parents, like sometimes you're going to be in Target and maybe your kid hung out with grandma who is, you know, from a different generation, and your kid's like, I don't want the effing Legos today. And you're like, what? Like, there are just some scenarios where you're like, I don't know what to do. Let's laugh about it because there's nothing else you can do. Like there's there's a scenario where my daughter said hello to a classroom mascot with her foot. And so basically expiring Gabby's existence. And like, what do you do in those moments? Like, there's no pamphlet. There's a pamphlet for everything, you know?
Yeah, there's no how-to guide.
Yeah, like there's no how-to guide for when your daughter punts the beloved class mascot around the room, ending its existence in front of 26 kids.
I'm going to take a wild guess this was a hamster ball after soccer practice or something?
Yeah, well, so we grew up, when she was 3.5, she grew up across the street from an Ecuadorian family. And they had 4 boys who loved to play soccer. So she learned at a very young age there's a lot of love and joy and laughter associated with kicking a small circular object. So when Gabby, the classroom mascot, was inserted into this ball of safety, she was too young to disassociate. Because all she ever knew that there was a lot of love and joy and laughter associated with kicking around a small spherical object. So when she said hello to Gabby with her foot, Gabby took the ride of its life. And it was the last ride Gabby ever took.
Oh my goodness.
And so this caused the kids to freak out, which caused the teachers to freak out. And like in the eye of the hurricane, my daughter's just standing there so confused because she can't understand, because every time that someone else kicks a ball,
Nobody's
everyone's
paying with
like,
me.
yeah, olé! Why are we not doing this for me? And so like, what do you do in those moments?
And then all the eyes go to the parent.
Yeah, like you laugh because like what else can you do?
Right.
And so it's the same way with fitness. Like, yeah, you might fart while doing yoga. Everyone farts. In fact, everyone poops. They wrote a best-selling book about it.
Yes.
Well, what's the prequel to the poop? It's the fart. There should be a grown-up book called Everybody Farts, and it's just about exercise positions that everyone's gonna fart in, right?
Yes.
But like that's the thing, right? And so if you've ever struggled with being overweight, just existing is awkward. So embrace it. Yeah, like you've got rolls. And I had man boobs for years, so I get it. Like I get it. Like sometimes I'd lose my underwear. I'm like, where'd it go? Like you know, you just lose things. And yeah, it gets awkward. But here's the thing, like if it's gonna be awkward, why not enjoy the process? Why not laugh at the little quirks? Because at the end of the day, this matters most to you, and it matters most to the people who love you. No one else really matters. And if the people who love you most support you, then what do the unqualified opinions of others matter? They don't. We love them because they matter on an existential level,
That's an
But
important distinction. Yeah.
if someone's laughing at you because you're running on the treadmill, then man, what's wrong with them that they have to deflect? Like what, like seriously, like
Right.
if you can stop for a second and go back to high school and say, what is bullying? Bullying is an unequivalent of power. So when someone bullies you, they're trying to bring you down to a
Hmm.
level where they feel confident. And because they're comfortable being there, they're going to beat you with that experience. So
Right.
if you're able to say, wait a minute, I'm in a gym and there's all these sexy people around and they're laughing at me, but they're spending 2 to 3 hours of their life every day at a gym. What is missing in their world that this is what brings them their identity? All of a
Yeah.
sudden, you realize that, yeah, they may have a great body, but an overwhelming majority of those people are hollow on the inside. They're dying. And this is where they're finding their identity. And it
Yeah.
equals the playing field because I look at the gym much like most people should view the church. You go to a church not because you're healthy and perfect. You go to a church because there's something that you need that only something else can fulfill. The gym's the same way. You may have a broken eating pattern, you may have a broken exercise pattern, but you're there to find health no
Hmm.
matter what. So
Right.
when you walk into the gym, walk in like a baller because you deserve to be there as much as the dude who's doing a chest press inappropriately because he's not
Right.
actually isolating his muscles. He's using ancillary muscles. Yeah, he'll throw up more weight, but he's not actually isolating the muscle group he's supposed to. Anyways, sorry, rant. Why not? If you can look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and know that you're doing the best thing for you and you've got the love and the support because you're doing it for the right reasons, nothing else matters. And
Right.
if
That's where the
that's the
line is. That's
case,
it. Yep.
and if
Period.
that's the case, why not laugh at the process? So
Yeah.
yeah, if you're doing sit-ups and you let one rip, well, A, maybe eat something different before you do that. But then B, dude, everyone
Eh,
farts. Like that's
yeah.
it. And maybe that should be, maybe that's gonna be my next book. It'll
Yeah.
be an illustrated book. It'll be
It's
the
a good
prequel
hook.
to Everyone Poops called Everyone Farts.
Yeah. There you
That's called
go.
that's
Very nice. You're gonna be fully illustrated. Very nice. Very nice. Well, yeah, that's quite a journey, and I want to share a link to your TED Talk under this post when we get it up there as well. But I want to shift a little bit and talk about kids because you were on this journey. Um, I see a lot more kids than you and I are in a similar age bracket. When we were younger, there wasn't nearly the rate of overweight and obesity that there is now. And a lot of it is due to the parents, and they are the ones driving to the grocery store. They're the ones driving through the drive-through. So they're kind of setting these kids up for failure, which is really hard to watch. What advice can you give to parents on a high level if their kid is starting to struggle with weight, or if they're working on eating patterns for little kids? What are some things that you usually talk about with people when it comes to enabling those kids to develop some healthy behaviors right out of the gate instead of trying to fix it at a later date?
No, and that's a great question. And the reality is under the psychological theory of hurting people hurt people, quite often people who struggle with being overweight as adults, they've never connected the dots themselves. And so there's an unhealthy behavior, there's an unhealthy perspective to food, there's an unhealthy perspective to exercise. And I see this a lot of people, right? So you'll talk to people about vegetables, and quite often their disdain for vegetables came when they were a kid. And like, if you don't eat these vegetables, you won't get a cookie. And it's like, all of a sudden we've made the nutrients our body needs wrong. Like we made it
A
like a barrier
punishment.
between
Yeah.
us and cookies. And same thing with
Right.
exercise, right? Like so many people that I talk to view exercise as a punishment because at a very formidable age, you were late for gym class. Now you got to go run 3 laps. Like exercise was presented to them as a punishment.
Right.
So when I speak with parents, phase one is how do we help the parental units embrace the healthy aspects? Because at the end of the day, you're the adult, you're the parent. The kid's going to do what you do. But
Right.
far too often, because the parent still to some degree views salads or vegetables or fruits as some type of punishment or something in the way of cookies, they're bringing that into the child's life.
Hmm.
And so what we do is we find that balance between, hey, they're kids, they should have cookies and brownies and dessert. But we're just as excited about salad night as we are dessert. We're just as excited about vegetables as we are everything else. We're just as excited about exercise.
Right.
And, the advice to the parents is, well, to some degree, it's way deeper than just a 30-minute conversation. But it starts by acknowledging, what are the patterns that the kids are picking up from you? If
Right.
you're not excited about exercise and all you're doing is going straight to the TV, are you setting a great example or a good foundation to tell them to put the tablet down when you're not putting the bigger tablet down? So,
Right.
phase one is, if you're going to spend time with your kids, put your phone down and go run with them, go exercise with them, go play with them. I mean, think about yourself, right? When you were a kid, pre-tablet, I know the world existed
Yes.
pre-tablet, but what did you want to do when you were a kid?
Play
You
with
just wanted to
sticks,
play.
go out in the woods.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just wanted to do something.
Right.
And so I think that sometimes, and this is a hard truth, is that as parents, we are so overworked and so overstressed that when we get home, like, we just need some us time, which is fair. You do. You need time to you, but you also have a finite amount of time to spend with your kids at
Right.
different stages of their lives.
Right.
Put the phone down for a half an hour and go get active with them, especially over the summer.
Right.
Over the summer when they're out of school, go to a playground, schedule time to go play with them. Don't just sit on the bench and noodle while they're playing. Go run around with them, go
Right.
climb the jungle gym, or at least stand there and supervise.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
the whole point is realizing that you're the parent in the relationship, and they're going to soak up so much of what you do. And if you're
And what
not
you don't do.
exactly, and if you're not stepping up and you're not painting healthy choices in a light that is awesome,
Right.
then they have that opinion. If you're not painting exercise in a light that is awesome, they're not going to think it's awesome.
Right.
So respectfully, I've got to say that, you've got to examine your own self and ask yourself, what beliefs do you have about the things in your life that are unhealthy? What are
Right.
you doing to change them? Because here's the transverse of it. If your kids are overweight and you're overweight, and all of a sudden you're like, no, mama's going to get healthy because I want to be here to see my kids grow up. Well, if mama's eating salad, kids are eating the salad. If the kids
Right.
don't like it, well, they're the kid. They're going to eat the salad.
Right. Yeah. And I tell people a lot of times, don't pack yourself something for lunch you wouldn't pack for your kids.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And to the transverse of that, if you do get to the point where the kids aren't in a place where they need to lose weight, then let them have the chicken nuggets, but then you should have the leaner meats. You should have the salad. You should have the options, because
Hmm.
that's the other phase. Like, we lump in instant convenience, and we fail to realize is that's going to cause us problems down the road.
Yeah.
So when you are overweight, there is going to be ramification for those behaviors.
Right.
It's just, do you want to address them on your terms or on science terms, where maybe diabetes are an issue or heart is the issue? It's always better to control your own narrative, and when you can use your kids as the
Fuel.
reason,
Yeah.
it's so much better, because now it's a family doing it. It's the family's getting healthy.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's true. That is that all-encompassing approach. I love that. I love that. And this is a perfect time to talk about this, because right now, when we're recording this, it's early November 2019. Everybody has, some leftover Halloween candy in the house. And I always say to everybody, as soon as the Halloween candy comes out in the stores, you have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, end of year parties, alcohol at parties, work deadlines, stress eating, daylight savings time, colder weather. Like, it's this perfect storm. Then we're
Yeah.
supposed to be perfect on January 1st. So, what are some things that you cover with clients as we get into kind of this craziest fourth quarter here? And we're already, almost halfway through the fourth quarter, but as we approach that 1 yard line, and things can get really crazy. Some people think, oh, I'll just throw in the towel and not worry about it for the next 6 weeks, and then I'll be, much better January 1st, versus the approach of every day is a fresh start. How do you help people kind of beat that feast beast, for lack of a better term?
We divide and we conquer with logic. The first thing I say is, don't let retail dictate your life. And what I
Right.
mean by that is this: like, and you've done a great job too. Like, you paint the picture of, we've got 3 solid months of holiday, but last I checked, Halloween ends well, let's say November 1st. Halloween ends, and Thanksgiving doesn't happen until November 28th.
Right.
So actually, Halloween ended, and you've got 20, 26 days until you actually have to worry about Thanksgiving. So first off, let's stop because Halloween's over.
Right.
Thanksgiving's 3 weeks away. What are you going to do with these 3 weeks? Because
Right.
you can't, when you look at it like that, it becomes a very illegitimate argument. Like, oh, I got to work. No, you don't. You got 3 weeks to do it. Worst case scenario, you have 2.5.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get the sale flyer until 5 days before. That's when you're going to actually do your shopping. You're not buying the turkey now. So say, okay, what we do, and literally we just did this, we let the kids pick out 21 pieces of their favorite candy from Halloween, and then we just donate the rest.
Great.
Because what they do is then they've got one treat each night until Thanksgiving, which then
Oh.
it resets. They'll have more treats. They'll have more leftover cookies. But
Right.
November 1st through, we'll just say November 24th, you've got this 3.5 week window where it really is business as usual. And why not capitalize? So what I say
Right.
with my clients is, okay, it's like Daniel Tiger. That was fun, but now it's done. What are you going to do with this? Because right now it's business as usual. So don't
Right.
use it as a crutch. Now
Right.
you get to Thanksgiving. Okay, that's great. What are the highest calorie, least nutritious foods? Well, give those leftovers away.
Right.
Gift the people. And if you know it's going to be a problem, cook for the moment. If it's just going to be you and your family for Thanksgiving, then cook a regular portion for that.
Not a 26-pound turkey
Yeah,
completely full of stuffing and
and
12
that's the thing,
potatoes.
right? And that's the thing. Like you don't make yourself the victim when you don't need to be.
Right.
Much like with the kids, you're the adult. You're in control.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to hear that because it's so much easier to mail it in.
Right.
But it's true. And it's not coming from a lack of understanding because I've been on both sides of this.
Sure.
And it's much like the fish that Nemo meets with the other broken fin. It's like, yeah, I've got one too. And
Yep.
it sucks, but this is how we get out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel sorry for you or for myself. I understand, but you're the adult.
Right.
That was fun, but now it's done. So Thanksgiving will happen. Maybe you have, I mean, yeah, technology's come a long way, but do leftovers really last 4 weeks now? No. You got maybe a 3 or 4 day window and then it's going to be vile.
Right.
So you have Thanksgiving, you have 2 or 3 days of leftovers, and then what happens? Oh, snap! You now have 3 more weeks to Christmas that are absolutely normal.
Right.
So let's not make it like it's this big thing because retail tells us it's the holiday season. Yeah, it is. But you know what the holidays are about? They're about the people, not the food.
Yes.
And so if you
That needs
celebrate
to
the
be the
people
focus.
and literally the reason for the season, that's where it starts. Now,
Right.
tactically, a lot of people have, like, they just don't know what to do. It's like Will Ferrell, like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know. The Wonder Bread car ran well today. I don't. So 2 things I always say for that, Altoids and gum. Altoids, if you've ever had an Altoid, it's not a shy flavor. It doesn't play well with others.
No.
So unless you hate life, put an Altoid in and then eat something. You ain't gonna want to eat that, whatever it is. Like,
No.
have an Altoid and then some alcohol, and like you don't even
And
need,
that's it.
yeah, you don't even need NyQuil after that. Like, your throat
Yeah.
is raw.
You just turn into like the Mentos
Well, what ends up
YouTube videos.
well, exactly. But by doing so, A, you're keeping your mouth full.
Right.
B, you're having a flavor that is not going to mix well with others. So ironically, you sabotage your sabotage.
Interesting
C,
approach. Yeah.
you're giving people the gift of fresh breath. It
There
is
you
the
go.
Michael Scott win, 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 win. And so that'd be phase 1. Phase 2 would be just have some gum because it's going to
Right.
keep your mouth doing something. Altoids or gum is Altoid's slightly less obnoxious cousin. It will be there. There'll still be an aftertaste if you try to eat afterwards, but also it keeps your mouth spivvy. It
Right.
has more flavors if mint isn't your thing.
Sure.
So from the emotional level, like, let's pause for a second and realize that the holiday only is actually these amount of days and everything else is business as normal.
Right.
From the tactical side, Altoids and gum, and then see from the stress and the emotional side, life's always going to be difficult and you can't keep medicating with food. And
Right.
so you then have to then take it to a different level of saying, well, what are the stresses? What are the conflicts? What am I unable to disassociate from the office to the home?
Mm-hmm.
And then that opens up another sect of conversations. But to me, with the holiday season, divide and conquer. Be an adult, realize that the holiday lasts maybe 3 days at most. And so you've got 10 days that you need to manage out of the course of 3 months.
Right.
So you're going to throw away the entirety of the rest of the 3 months over 10 days.
Yeah, that's a
That's
wonderful way to look at it. Yeah. Yeah, and
so
just
that's
because
how I would,
Pam puts out that bowl of candy doesn't mean you have to eat them, at the office. They have a little something out here. There's always cookies and stuff like that. Yeah, that's nice, but it doesn't mean I have to eat that just because it's there.
you don't.
Um,
And when it comes to the emotional side of things, quite often we feel like we're neglecting ourselves of these certain things that we deserve. But the counter argument to that would be, being in this overweight state, you're also neglecting yourself of things you deserve. Like, you deserve to be happy when you go into Target and not feel judged because nothing fits you. Like,
right,
you deserve to be able to go and play with your kids and not to get winded. Like, you deserve
right,
those things too. So just make the fight fair, because yeah, you may deserve to have a cookie, but you also deserve to have quality of life. And if
right,
that cookie is putting space between you and quality of life, I'd say pick the thing you deserve most, which is
right,
to be happy. Because
right.
I'd say the quality of life that people who are struggling with to gain if they lose the weight, that's the deserve that they really want. The cookie is just medicating the fact that they've not had a proper approach and nothing's worked yet, and they feel like a failure, when the reality is they've just gotten pretty incomplete advice.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is wonderful. I'm so thankful that you're sharing this with the community. And we have a couple minutes here before things cut out. But how can people get connected to you, learn a little bit more, and continue to learn from your Jedi wisdom and hear some of your fun jokes? And what's a good place to head people to?
Yeah, they can go to jeremyrochford.com, get all the information there. Right now, it's predominantly based around the speaking. We'll be setting up more stuff about the mentorships moving forward. But I've got an online community. It's Losing Weight Smarter. You just find it on Facebook, or actually, if you go to losingweightsmarter.com, it redirects you to the Facebook community.
Nice.
It's just a bunch of us talking about the journey.
Yep.
We've been through it. We've seen the battle. We've got the scars, but we've also got the trophies and the successes. So
There you
it's a
go.
community for people to come, hang out, share their frustrations, get advice, get the support they need, and just enjoy the journey. Because society makes weight loss very unfun, and we're like, yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. We can fart and talk about man boobs. It's okay.
Very nice. Very nice. This is life. This is life.
It is, right?
Proper
You've got kids.
balance. I
Well, it's
love it.
like, if you have kids, you know that you've probably not pooped by yourself in what years? So that's just life.
Yeah. It's just poop, right? It's
Well,
just
that's why I
poop.
started going to the
Wipe it
gym.
and
Like,
keep going.
well, I started going to the gym just so I could poop in peace, to be honest with you. That's the only
Hey,
reason
there
why.
you go.
Yeah,
Very nice. And with a $20 membership, you can go all across the country.
exactly. I fart and I'm like, this is a judgment-free zone. Like, that's not how you intended it. That's how I'm using it.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And have a wonderful day. May the force be with you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
All right. Bye-bye.